Hi everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. Welcome to the Commonwealth cabin. I've got two topics I want to talk about today, and then of course, as always, talk about some sales. The first one is the title of the video or something like it. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what I title videos, but 2,000 items did not sell on eBay today, and I'm going to tie that into a couple of comments and questions I've gotten. The second topic, completely unrelated, but something I want to talk about because I get this question all the time and I avoid it, has to do with insurance. And we're going to talk about that today and show you some cool things that sold. Let's go take a look. I got to tell you this first item before we get into the topic here. I was super excited to find, and I love my pet monster stuff. You just don't find it out there very often. And I saw these, and this guy had a bunch of little PVCs, and I think he wanted like $7 for the whole pile of PVCs. And these were in there, along with some other ones as well. The Noid, I think, was in there too. These go for okay money. I put them together, getting, I don't know, 10, 11 bucks or something like that. And these right here, I didn't pay 10. He wanted 10. I don't know what I paid. I think I paid 7 for all of them. And then there were some other ones I ended up putting in a live Didbit show. And these right here I put out there because they had a bunch of them there, all different characters. Put them out there for $20 plus shipping, and they sold. I usually pick a bunch of items and then put the topic in there. I'm going to weave it through this video today. So the first part of this is, I think there's a huge misconception out there for new resellers. I got a message the other day. Somebody said, hey, I've got almost 100 things listed on eBay, and I'm only averaging 2 sales a day. And I thought, it's not bad. And people have different opinions of that. I often get criticized for having a low sell-through rate. And mine is much higher than a lot of people and much lower than a lot of people. It just fits my model. It fits my space. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm going to talk about my numbers. I use the term 2,000. I have 2,000 eBay listings that didn't sell today. Technically, that's not true. I think it's 1,896 total listings that I have right now. I think that is one misconception from early eBay sellers, you know, and they're kind of just getting started. They're like, man, sometimes, a lot of times, those early folks, they put stuff on, they list stuff a little too cheap, and they get a bunch of sales really quickly, and then it slows down, and then they get disappointed. This is a pair of awesome vintage Harley. Look at this. That one, that leather pair of pants sold for a bunch of money. Sold for $110 plus shipping. Now, let's just say I have 1,900 listings. I'm going to give you a little peek at how many things I sell comparatively. You know, today's pretty slow, to be honest with you. This is 2 days worth of sales, and we're at 14 items for under 500 bucks. So not the best last 2 days for us, for our model. You know, comparison is the thief of joy, they say. So I could look at somebody else's store and feel really bad, or somebody could look at mine and feel really bad, or look at mine and feel really good. And so it's all relative to what you do and how much time you have. But I think out of those 1,900 listings, there's almost $86,000 in inventory. And my goal for the year is to sell $150,000. So I could sell everything in my store and wouldn't get to that number. Y'all, I didn't turn my camera on. Poncho was all the way back up in that thing. I was going to get it on camera, but you're sniffing for treats, huh? Whew, I just came in from outside. It is windy. The sun finally popped out, and I'm like, sweet. And then it got windy and cold and overcast. This is a sweet vintage Chicago Bulls single stitch shirt from 1991. Not in perfect condition, but in good condition for that age and that style of shirt. I think it sold for around 35 bucks. $34.97 for that one. Now look, this one took forever. I listed these with a bunch of other Bulls shirts that sold fairly quickly, and then about a third of them just never have sold. So they just kind of trickle in, and you got to tweak them a little bit. I think that's the part of eBay that a lot of new resellers just don't get. So I'm going to ask you to share your numbers down below, and they will undoubtedly be very different than mine. My sell-through rate is not the highest. You know, I might be, well, let's see here. Let's talk about numbers here. So if you're looking at, you know, dollar amounts, I might sell, I don't know, as low as $9,000 in a month up to I've had over $15,000, $16,000 in sales some months. So it just depends on the month. And the set, you know, I might sell 8, 9, 10 things a day, something like that. And, you know, what's the rate, I guess? I probably should have done some math here. But if I'm selling 10 things a day and I have 2,000 things listed, which those aren't exactly the numbers. But, I mean, think about those numbers. You know, what percentage would I sell if I just had 100 things? But I think the more important part is The overturn of the newer inventory, that I think is much more significant. You know, if you're having a very slow sell-through rate on items that are newly listed, then you're going to eventually have a very, very big problem. I don't mind having certain items that have just sat around forever, but it can't be the bulk of your store. And so for people, sometimes like that lady who sent that message, she might have listed 100 things in like 2 weeks, just listed them all, and then hasn't listed anything since because she's not really a picker and a seller. She's selling off stuff that she has, somebody's maybe a load of stuff she got, I don't know, a parent's stuff, you know, whatever. And so you are going to see a precipitous fall in your sell-through rate if new items aren't constantly being listed. And I think that's what people kind of miss about this. If you're trying to do something like a business, it is going to require constant listing and paying attention to sell-through rate on items as well. You know, I would need to sell 19 items a day to sell 1% of my inventory every day. And some people look at that and like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And that's part of the reason people say, oh, well, sell live, you sell it all. All right, here's this Lufkin ruler right here, fold out ruler. I sell these often for right around 15 bucks. This went for just under that plus shipping. I don't pick them up unless unless it's like pristine and really nice, different types, you know. I won't pick them up for more than a couple of bucks max. But I sell quite a few of them a year, maybe 8 or 10. One number I do like to look at, and I don't often hit it, but I'm close to it, is that number, you know, your listing. Let's say I had 1,800 listings, and in a 90-day period, I've sold 900 things. That means then, hypothetically, theoretically, I would take 180 days to sell through all my merchandise. Right? 90 days, you're selling half of your merchandise. We all know that is absolutely not the case. The reason that number goes up like that is because you are listing good inventory, and a lot of your good inventory, because it has good sell-through rates, because it's a desirable product, is going to sell quickly. Now, the rest of those things, you're going to have things in there that just last longer. The key to keeping that up to a realistic level is to make sure that you're taking care of the back end of your store in some way, shape, or form. We've talked about that exhaustively on here, so I'm not going to do it other than to say at about 200 to 250 days, depending on what mood I'm in, I'm going to put a 30% off sale on items. And my sell-through rate's still not crazy, but I often pick up things that are low sell-through rate items because I love them and I don't mind sitting around on them because I have the space. If I didn't have the space, I would laser focus on that sell-through rate. It's also one of the reasons that I often talk about. My TV scared me. It just came on. Y'all, if you haven't checked out the Commonwealth Picker channel, go check it out. It's a new video. Before I was so rudely interrupted by myself talking. It's one of the reasons I use this bin system. People think I'm a nut for it, not doing SKUs, but to me, SKUs doesn't help solve this one problem, and that is buying too much of certain inventory or certain niches that don't sell for me very well. I just know, like, hey, if my shoe bins are overflowing, I'm not buying any more shoes for a while. I'm going to take care of the back end of it. This is my Tupperware, you know, not just Tupperware, but this kind of stuff. If I've got too much of this, I'm not buying it for a while. These bins tell me what I should and shouldn't be buying. Jeans, for instance, you know, I'm not going to go out looking, or it might tell me, hey, you've got a bunch of these, let's sell a bunch live if you buy them instead of relist or putting more up that aren't going to sell quickly. 541 jeans, 36.30. I usually buy jeans for no more than $1, although there are major exceptions out there, of course. These sold for $17 plus shipping. So as always, I don't expect people to agree with me or to use my system the way I do it, but I'm always curious to hear yours down below and the reasons you choose it. So if you don't mind taking a minute and telling us in the comments, I think we can all learn from it. All right, John Turner's got some Commonwealth comedy. What do you got?
Which baseball player loved fireplaces?
Which baseball player loved fireplaces? I don't know. Which one?
Mickey Mantle.
Mantle. All right. Thank you, bud.
Bye.
All right, you probably haven't noticed, other than me putting on a hat, I had to stop. I wasn't getting stuff done quite as fast as I needed to today. Went in and did a live show. This one was on dibdit.com. About an hour and 25 minutes, $408. And this kind of ties in a little bit here because time is really important. Where you spend your time and what you're taking it away from, the opportunity cost kind of builds into everything we're talking about here. How many items you have listed versus how long it takes them to sell and all those things. So I make a smaller margin. My profit margins are much less selling live. Not much less. They're definitely less. Plus, I pay for labor because I don't do that. I host the live show, but that's all I do. So time-wise, all I had into that other than the sourcing, which I'm already sourcing stuff for eBay, it's not really more time, just a little bit. Hour and 25, 30 minutes prep time and all that stuff. And I don't do anything except for host that show. Jess ships everything for me, and we pay her to do it. My margins are usually, they could be as low as... I calculate them out from time to time. My margins over there, the lowest I've ever seen is 24. The highest I've seen is 39. I'd say most of the time it's right around low 30s. We're going to say 30%. So see if I can do some quick math here. If that held true for this one, which I did not calculate out, cost of goods can be hard when you're dealing with that because a lot of stuff gets bundled together into this. But I can kind of guesstimate when I come up with those numbers. I'm looking at maybe... Let's say it's 30%. That's the low end. It's about $125 profit on that show in an hour and 25 minutes. Definitely worth my time because that's the only time I put into it. But after that show, I actually took Turner quite a ways down the road to his baseball practice. He's got 2 baseball teams. One's a travel team. I gotta find this item. I was so excited when it sold, and now I can't even find it. It used to sit right here, and it was there for a long time, and now it's here. Hardcastle and McCormick. This was a sweet buy at Peaches to Beaches last year, and it finally sold. I've sold this before. I actually bought one of these for $1 at a yard sale once. This one cost a little bit more. Had it listed for over $100 for quite a while. Finally took an offer on it, and it sold for $83.97 plus shipping. I had a Fall Guy one as well. That one sold quickly because of that movie that came out. It's always good to keep an eye on those movies that come out. And so that sale came in along with some other stuff I haven't pulled yet. I've already shipped all this stuff over here that I had pulled earlier. And that put us over the $600 mark. That sale and one more that came in. So 15 sales over $600 on what was pretty slow. But that one really helped out the day quite a bit. And the next one gets us back to the original topic, which is sell-through rate and expectations of sellers. And then I promise you I'm going to get to this insurance question because I get it all the time. I'm finally going to answer it because there's a story in the news I saw the other day my wife sent me that I think is relevant. So here is the other item. I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and went with my buddy Ray Nashville Flippers, y'all. He's got a meetup down there coming up April 25th. Y'all should go check out his channel, Ray Nashville Flippers. And I bought a couple of items that I knew would be really slow sellers. I didn't think they'd be quite this slow. The other one I sold last week, it was like a drain thing. You might have saw it. I had 2 of them, and they finally sold. And I paid $1.99, and I paid $1.99 for this. I can't even remember what it is. It's something like, let's see here. In-wall tank faceplate. And I think I paid $1.99 for this one too. And I thought, oh my goodness, there was no sell-through rate whatsoever. Like none, because none were listed. I found some similar things. I'm like, well, do I want to even spend $1.99 and wait forever? But the comps were pretty much in my control. And you look up the retail on some of this stuff, and they can go for hundreds, which is nuts. And this one I did buy, and it sat there forever. I don't mind some slow sellers as long as the return on investment is really high. And so in this case it was, even though it sold at 30% off, I paid $1.99, sold for $55.97. Is it worth a 2-year wait? For me it was. I think that's a great profit. You can't make that much money in the stock market. Now here's an example of an item that I would not have bought for $1.99 to wait for 2 years to sell. This one right here, it's cheap for sure, but it's only gonna sell for around 20 bucks. It's a 0 water, but the sell-through rate on it is much higher if you price it right. So definite buy for me for $1 or $2 and sell it for $20 plus shipping. And that's why I'm pretty stingy out there when I'm buying hats, because hats can sit around for a long time too. So I want to get them dirt cheap. Even if I know, okay, it'll sell for $20 eventually. I don't want to pay $5 for it because some sit in these bins for a long, long time. And this one didn't sit too long, I guess. I mean, compared to some of the hats in here. Let me see if I can find it. And this one, I don't know, I can't remember. It hadn't been maybe 6 months or so. 7 max, and it came from the same sale I sold that hat from the other day, that Pittsburgh hat, and I paid $1 for it, and it's New Era. It's blue Pirates hat, which is pretty rare. I thought, that might be okay. It's $39.30 instead of $59.50, which is way better, but still, those are pre-bent, the $39.30s, but it was clean as a whistle, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So $1 in $19.95 plus shipping. All right, dogs pushed the door open. I guess I didn't shut it good enough. You want some treats. On Darkman 2, then we're going to get to insurance. Turn my heater on in here for a minute when I left. Santee. And this is a vintage Darkman 2 sweatshirt. This thing is awesome, actually. And it's new old stock. Although, look at that. It's got a little chalk on it or paint or something. That's chalk. It's coming right off. This one sold for $30, I think. $20.97 for this one. Sold on clearance. 30% off, $27.97 plus shipping. So I want to mention this. I get this question literally daily about insurance. What do you do for insurance? You know, I want to quit my job. I've got enough money. I got this, I got that, but I can't do insurance. I usually avoid it like the plague because everybody's situations are very different. But I'm going to answer it because of a story that my wife sent me. And I got to tell you, when I always look up here, somebody sent me this thing here, February 17th, 2021. That's when I made the decision that I was going to quit. Well, it's the day I told my bosses, my administrators at the school, that I was going to be leaving at the end of the year and wasn't going to teach anymore. Social media was doing well for me and the time I was spending on it. And I thought, I could replace my teaching income with social media income, and I could increase the revenue of my reselling as well. The only question people had, my family had, what about insurance? And you got insurance, you're a teacher and whatever. And we had gone through an experience that my wife sent me this because she remembers this. You know, insurance isn't free, at least it wasn't for me as a teacher. We paid a tiny amount as the teacher, and then I had to pay to insure my whole family through the school system. And it could get to be a lot of money. So we decided one year we were going to try to get our own insurance cheaper than what I was paying the school to insure my family. And we got it pretty darn close. And we had Reagan, when we had Reagan, we were insured by the school and all that. And we decided, you know, we're going to try something different. And when we had Turner, we didn't have, we paid for Turner's birth with no insurance. But I wanted to go through the whole process and pay cash for everything along the way, which my wife's, you know, a little bit nervous. But I'm like, listen, we'll get this right, or I'll get into all that in a little bit. But what I found out was something that, it didn't shock me. I kind of knew it. This is why I did it this way. Well, let me tell you in a second. Let me pick one more item. I'll tell you the rest of the story. I love selling things that I can title something else. In this case, this is a golf club head cover for the Florida Gators. I bought this down in Florida on a Commonwealth picker video not too long ago. That hardly anybody watched that one. It was a good one too. It's because I screwed up the thumbnail and title, I think. And I posted it late, which I never do. This one, you could call it a puppet if you want. You can call it a club head cover. I often call puppets head club head covers and vice versa. But that Florida Gator one right there, I paid $1. It sold for $24.95, and it sold pretty darn quickly, plus shipping. All right, back to the story. My wife sent me this or this news story. She's like, and maybe some of you have seen this, where the young couple, I think in California, something happened to their daughter, and they had to get an ambulance, and they took them to the hospital and all that, and then they got a bill for $600 and something, and then they looked at the bill and said, oh, they didn't even have our insurance on there. So they said, hey, we have insurance, whatever, and then they got a bill for $1,300 and something for the exact same thing. And we had that experience. It's you know, I'm not a big fan of insurance. I actually self-insure almost every package. I rarely buy it. And it has to be a lot of money before I do, like $500 or more. And I've only been burned one time ever not buying insurance. And the money I've saved on it for packages is absolutely insane. So way more. But, you know, people are in different situations. So I'm not giving advice out there. I'm just telling a story. And so we had Turner and paid cash for every bit along the way for Turner's birth. And we paid less money than we did for Reagan. Now, granted, it should go up, right? Over the years, we paid less money for Turner's birth paying cash than we did with insurance. Absolutely insane. And I mean, the insurance paid and we paid less. So that experience right there got me thinking, hey, when I leave this thing, I'm going to pay for my own. We actually do a healthcare sharing plan. And so far it's worked out great. I'm not giving advice to anybody to do what I do, but I'm answering what I've done so that people quit asking me the question. And when I don't mind the question. And then I have a big rider on it, which is catastrophic stuff. So along the way, all of our healthcare, we have a I don't know what you want to call it, a subscription to a doctor that we go to. We pay him monthly, whether we go or we don't go. And the cost is way, way down for us for health insurance. And then we have that big rider, which we pay a little bit on in case something catastrophic happens, like cancer and the terrible things that can happen to folks. And so far it has been really, really good for us. And it was those experiences, and people don't get it, and everybody's different, right? And there's different school districts and there's different jobs that have different kind of insurance and stuff. But for us, it was a no-brainer, and I'm glad we went down that road. Here's an item that's sold on 30% off as well. It's been around a long time, so I'm a big advocate for a certain number of days than putting it on discount. Not doing the step system, although it's right for some folks, So Avon a new Revitalist. That thing sold for $13.27. It was in a giant bag of Avon stuff. A lot of Avon obviously is not good, but this is good enough. This one paid for the bag plus some, and we've been selling it for years. I think this is towards the bottom of the barrel. $13.27 plus shipping. All the new stuff that comes in, that's cosmetics, we're putting over on polishandbrush.com. My wife is selling it over there, and she's done pretty good so far. We've sold a few things, like 4 or 5. And we don't have that many to list. But if I find some more, I'm going to probably sell it live over there, or I'm going to list it on that site and see how it does for a while. We'll see. Look, I traded. I'm so happy you're here. That's right. I traded the dogs for a sweet cat. And this is what I'm looking for right here. And I don't remember what it sold for, but a little Nintendo DS system glove right there. And that one sold for $13.27. Plus shipping. I think that's exactly what that sold for. So tell me your insurance stories down below, your experiences. It's I'm sure all over the map, as it is for all of us, but you resellers out there, share your stories down below. And as always, I don't encourage people to do things unless I'm 100% sure of each of their situations. That isn't it. I'm looking for a blue tag, y'all. Did I not put all of them in here? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I still got blue tags over there. I better find this one. I don't want to have to cancel an order. Where the heck is it? I guess I outsmarted myself. The blue tags is still up there. There's 70 some of those, so I couldn't put them all in there, but $7.66 for that one. We moved some stuff around. The Inaman used to be over there. Now they're over there. Some folks around my house decided that I should display this more prominently, which used to be hidden over there, and we used that space a little better, but whatever. I'm proud of it, but it's because of you guys, not me. So Fleet Inaman right here. And this guy, as you know, if you've been watching this channel a long time, there's some... What are you doing back there? You're the good cat. Don't be getting into stuff. Come on. That's my good cat, y'all. Speaking of watching this channel for a while, you might have remembered when this cat showed up. It's in our chicken coop. Your mama thought it was a raccoon or something. Wanted me to go take care of it. Possum. Turned out it was No Name, and he was skin and bones, and he lived underneath the shed for a long time until you trusted me enough to come out. One day he came in here, and he's been with us ever since. Love that cat. Anyway, this one sold, as it does. We put them out every couple of weeks or so. I got one I just listed, and it's a giant thank you to all of you guys for years who have had this stuff in your cabins. There used to be over there. They moved them all. So if you need to get your eBay store moving, it works 99.8% of the time. I still haven't fixed my screen display up here, which means I forgot to read a couple of announcements here, or thank yous. That Inaman is one of them, and the keychain was one too. Went to Steven. And he says, longtime viewer of all of your formats. Thank you, I appreciate that. I look forward each day to your new content. I'm not a reseller, but I enjoy following you and your beautiful family on your journey through life. Well, thank you for all you do, Stephen. I appreciate that. Let me read the other one too. And as I'm looking through these, I see there's 2 more sales that I totally missed. So that takes us up even more. So it wasn't as bad as what I thought at the beginning of the day. This one's going to Megan. She says, thank you, Kevin. I started reselling on eBay full-time in May 2024 and found your channels on YouTube shortly thereafter. You've helped me understand the market more and what to be searching for. I find continued encouragement as I watch your channels and as I work in the office. And so you probably, relate to some of the stuff I've been talking about. I'm hoping to make the eBay store and YouTube channel to new heights in 2025. Support my wife and son. So I'm thanking Megan, but this is Megan's husband, Tim. Thank you. I'm getting this and Amanda to hope get things moving for our store. God bless you and your family. Ephesians 3:20 and 21, Tim and Megan. I appreciate it very much, and I do hope he gets things moving for you. And you probably relate to this. Sometimes when things are slow, somebody sends you a message. Rebecca, I think, sent me a message. I think you're a viewer, but I'm not sure. It said, hey, would you take whatever for this? And I was like, how about this one? I think I gave her a little better offer. It's a Dooney & Burke tag for a purse. And it's sold. I took, I wouldn't normally go down quite this much. I think it was listed for like 14 or something like that. Anyway, sold it for $10 plus shipping because it was a slow day. And it turned out to be a wonderful day. And then we have one more item here really quick. Wow, look at this. You're sitting so patiently. You want some more treats, huh? All right, see if I can find the Snuggle Bear. There it is right there. And I sold the Snuggle Bear. Those were good commercials, if you remember. Got some of Reagan's hair on it, I think. Snuggle Bear. And that one sold, have a look at my computer because I didn't write it down, $12.95 plus shipping. I used to sell quite a few of the Aflac ducks. I swear I just saw one up here. Maybe it's hiding behind there. There it is right there. Aflac ducks and different stuff like that. Those branded plush like the fleet. And so it's not a huge sale, but it's kind of cool. I like it. $12.95 plus shipping. All right, y'all. Reagan's here. Got one sale today. This actually got sold on Dibby.com. So instead of Commonwealth Picker, but you can still say your line.
Dawn got a Trash to Cash sticker.
Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Appreciate it very much. Lazy dog. And Reagan got a new bed, y'all, and the dogs like it because it's not way up high. They can get in it.
They ditched me last night.
They ditched you, though, didn't they? Thank you.
Bye, and don't forget to get your stickers at CommonwealthPicker.com.
It was a monumentous day. The very last of the mediums. Nike Dry Fit finally sold. And they are going for not a ton, but like I said, $50 a piece. That is it. Empty bag. $13.96. plus shipping. So if you don't mind sharing with us, if you don't mind telling us how many items you have listed compared to how many you sell maybe on average a day, or maybe how many you have listed compared to your 90-day total of sales, and you will be blown away by some numbers. I'm telling you. I know a lot of these resellers, and some of their sell-through rates are absolutely insanely good. Now, there's a give and take to that, for sure. And they cut bait with stuff quicker. They limit what they're buying, but it works for them and their model is very different. So I'm always curious to read all those down below. And then there are some people with extremely low, way lower than my sell-through rate, and they're still very successful. But it is something to keep in mind for your business. You OGers out there, share your experiences with us down below, and I can't wait to see you next time.